Hello, everybody. Hello. If you would have asked me back in January if I would have ever thought that I would have streamed 30 days straight on YouTube, I would have said a big no. Can you believe it? 30 days streaming in a row. Today we're making our 30th quilt block, the Spool Quilt block. This is going to be a 12-inch quilt block finished in your quilts. When we're done with this block, it's actually going to measure 12.5 by 12.5. Okay, I have something lined up really fun for us this morning. We're going to recap. We're going to do a recap of all of our blocks. Let me get this video pulled up so that I can do the live chat. Good morning, everybody. All right, let me go over. Let me take a second. Miss Sherry, I'm going to assign you as a moderator. There we go. Thank you so much, Miss Sherry. So good to see you, everybody. Thank you, Miss Diane, for moderating as well. 30 days, yes. I have something fun lined up for today. Before we get started, because we are starting early today, y'all. Harlan has a work meeting set up for the time that we usually go live here on YouTube. And I have a really busy afternoon lined up. So I thought, let's go earlier today so that we don't have to rush this block. We can ask some fun questions and we can take our time making this quilt block. But let's first start with a little slideshow. It's going to pop up here on the screen. These are the 30 blocks that we've made in this series. 30 quilt blocks. So if you want to take a look at that for a second, if you've missed any of these quilt blocks, they're all in a playlist. You can save the playlist and then just scroll through, find the blocks that you're missing, and watch the video and make the block along with me. Thank you so much, Miss Janet, for keeping an eye on our chat too. Yes, it helps. The more moderators here on YouTube, the more comfortable I am paying more attention to what we're doing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sue. Thank you. Yes, 30 quilt blocks. I have some favorites, but I like them all. The Easter Bunny. This was a fun block. Ella, Miss Ella, the videos are here indefinitely. So when you're able, if you want to make any of them, you can always come back and watch the replay. Yes, I like each and every one of these blocks. I've had so much fun doing this series. Good morning, everybody. Before we get started with the spool block, we're just going to take a recap of all 30 blocks really quick. We're just going through them. Check them out. See if you've missed any. 30 days in a row. I'm not sure how many more days we're going. Here in Virginia, so far they're sticking to June the 10th. We'll see how that goes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So great to see y'all. Thank you for spending part of your Wednesday with me. I look forward to this every day. I'm still waking up excited. Yes, Miss Glinda, my headache is gone. I thought I was going to sleep so good last night because I was so tired. But I didn't sleep well at all. But I woke up this morning and I feel really good. So, which one is my least favorite? Let's see. My least favorite. Let me take a look. Oh, goodness. I would say my least favorite. I know which one it is. I think it's because of the fabrics I picked. Let me see if I can remember the name of that one. Double tic-tac-toe. My double tic-tac-toe block is right there. I think I just don't like my color selections. I think that's what it is, but the double tic-tac-toe is probably my least favorite. Probably my least favorite. And block 30 is the spool quilt block. That's the one we're doing today, here in just a minute. In just a minute. So great to see everybody. Now I forget which one it started with the slideshow, so I'm just going to keep that going for just a minute more. So great to see y'all. What kind of work does my husband do? He works for NASA, and he is a scientific photographer for NASA. So he gets to go in the wind tunnels and take really awesome pictures. They get to do airplane drop test, and he takes pictures and high-speed photography for that. They do all kinds of fun stuff. Technical, scientific photographer. But he also takes portraits of astronauts and really cool NASA people. The turn dasher, that was a lot of fun. The cotton ball, that was a lot of fun. Double necktie, that was a fun block. We did some snowballing on that block. This one here, this is probably my least favorite. The, what did we call that one? double tic-tac-toe. The house block, that one gave me some trouble in the roof area. Y'all remember that? Farmer's Daughter, that was a fun quilt block. Friendship Star, that's a pretty easy one if you're just starting out making quilt blocks. Hope of Hartford, I think that's Hope of Hartford. I really liked that block a lot. Yes, 30 quilt blocks. And Jacob's Ladder, I think we're at the beginning of the slideshow now. I think they're repeating. Log cabin. So yes, 30 quilt blocks. Y'all, I've shown examples of what you could do with each one of these blocks if you just made them on their own as quilts. Or if you wanted to choose 5 or 6 and repeat them, you could do that. There's so many different things you can do with traditional quilt blocks. Yes, there is. All right, so let me take this off the screen. Today we're getting started with the spool quilt block. Here's the pieces you need. This is the block we're doing. This is video number 30. Let me show you what this, whoops, wrong button, Lisa. What this block looks like as a quilt. Angel has a really great question, y'all. If y'all can take a look at her question, she is in need of some replacement blades for her 60mm rotary cutter. Do you have any suggestions? Do you have any suggestions that would be helpful for her? I buy mine off of Amazon, but I use the 45mm, and I'm undecided whether or not I like these blades, so I'm not gonna give a shout out to that brand yet because I haven't decided if I like them or not. But if anybody else has suggestions for Angel, that would be really helpful. Yes, the spool quilt block. This is going to be a 12-inch quilt block, and we're getting ready to get started. If you want to sew with me live today, go ahead and set your machine to a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Get that set up and make sure you stay tuned to the end because I'm going to show you block number 31 soon as we're done with this quilt block. Let's move over to my work table here. Here are my fabrics. And y'all, I'm going to switch things up with this block a little bit. I'm going to go with a darker background for my block. So my background fabric is brown. My spool fabric is this fabric right here. And then my thread fabric is this pretty little striped piece right here. I think it's going to make it look like we have some variated thread on a spool, right? I like the stripes a lot. So these are the pieces that we need for this block. I take a sip of water. Thank y'all so much for the suggestions for the blades. Thank y'all so, so much. Y'all, this block is going to come together pretty quickly. We're going to start with some half square triangles, but we're going to make them pretty easily, okay? And that's the first thing we're going to get started with. We're going to go ahead and dive in. To do that, to do our half square triangles, we're going to be working with these two fabrics right here. My spool fabric, there's two blocks that measure 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. In the background, there's two blocks that also measure 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. So we have a little bit of prep work to do before we can lay out our block. Okay, we're going to take these fabrics and we're going to put these off to the side. So let's separate. We have two backgrounds. And we have two spool fabrics, just like this. Let's flip over the lighter one, and we're going to be marking the back side of the spool fabric. We're going to mark a seam. You're going to take either a water-soluble marker, heat erasing marker, something that, or a pencil, something that's not going to mess up your fabric. And we're going to draw a line from corner to corner, straight across diagonally. Just like that. And I'm hoping that you can see that just a little tiny bit. There's the line. We're going to be sewing a seam on each side of that line with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now, if you have one of these handy dandy 1/4 inch seam markers, little rulers like this, this is a 1/4 inch. You can actually line up this middle line right through the ruler to your corners. And you can draw your sewing line on both sides, right? I love this little 1/4 inch ruler. Whoops. So if you have a 1/4 inch ruler, you could do that. And these are actually the lines that you will sew on, right? So there's two different ways you can do it. The single line, I'm going to line up to my presser foot and sew with a 1/4 inch seam on both sides. And this one, I get to sew directly on the line. It is by OmniGrid. It's the 1/4 inch ruler. It comes in 3 different sizes. It's like a little kit. There's a small one, there's a little bit longer one, and then there's this one that is 12 inches. You can find these at Joann's. You can find them on Amazon too. So there's my sewing lines. We're going to take these with the pretty sides facing down, and we're going to line up the raw edges. You can throw some pins in here if you like. I'll probably do that just to keep these fabrics lined up. There's one pin and the second pin. We'll line up these two fabrics. Make sure they're nice and straight with one another, and throw in a couple of pins. So let's go ahead and get started with the questions for today. This is actually a question left over from yesterday. If you could pick any celebrity chef to cook you dinner tonight, who would you choose? Question number 1. If you could choose any celebrity chef to cook you dinner tonight, who would you pick? I'm a big fan of the Pioneer Woman. She makes some really hearty meat and potatoes kind of dishes. I would choose her to cook me dinner if I could. I'm going to go ahead and bring these 2 pieces over to the sewing machine. This first one, I'm sewing directly on the line. This is the set of blocks that I used my 1/4-inch ruler with. And we're just sewing both seams right on the line. Once we're done, I'm going to lift up the needle and just spin this block around, and we're coming back the other side. So there's our first block. And now this second one, I'm lining up this line with my presser foot, and I'm sewing 1/4 inch on both sides. Ooh, Paula Deen, Pioneer Woman, yes. Paula Deen uses some butter. I love some butter. I do. All right, now we're going to line up this line with our presser foot and sew on both sides. We'll flip it around and come back the other way. And here's our second set. Same results, just 2 different ways you can do that. Let me get this iron heating up. Good morning, iron. Hello, time to go to work today. It's time to go to work. I'm going to take these pins out, and I like to just set these seams before I cut these blocks apart. Oh, it's so great to see everybody. I know we're early this morning. Ooh, Bobby Flay. Yes, yes. Gordon Ramsay, yes, he's a trip. He is a trip. Guy. Oh, we went on a cruise a couple years ago, and on the cruise ship, there was a Guy's Burgers joint. Oh, it was so good. And you could go get a burger whenever you wanted. We ate so many Guy burgers in 5 days. It was crazy. Yes, we're getting started early today. We're getting started early. Harlan is working from home. He has a work meeting set up for the time that we normally go live. Oh, I see we're spinning. We're spinning. Looks like we're still going good though. Give me just a second. I want to make sure that we're good. Roni, if you go to my YouTube channel and you click on playlist, you will find the playlist for this series, and you can save it and come back anytime. Yes, it was on your cruise too, Miss Sue. Oh, we ate some Guy burgers, and you could fix it up however you wanted. They had loads of bacon and pickles. It was so good. It was so good. All right, let me get these seams set. Let's flatten out these two blocks a little bit. Just like this, we're going to line up our blocks right onto a line on our mat, and we're going to cut them apart. And this is going to give us our 2 half square triangles. So there's 2. Let's bring in this other set, and we'll cut that apart, and we will have 2 more. So there's a pretty fast way. Oh, I've got papers falling down everywhere. There's a pretty fast way of making 2 half square triangles at one time, right? Let me go ahead and trim off these dog ears. Our second question for today. What is your favorite Christmas movie? What is your favorite Christmas movie? I have 2. I love The Grinch Stole Christmas. Is that a movie? I like the cartoon version, the original, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And then, I forget the name of it right off the top of my head, but the one with the little kid, Ralphie, and he wants the BB gun for Christmas. What's the name of that one? It just escaped me right off the top of my head. So now I have the dog ears trimmed off of my half square triangles. I'm going to give these a press to the darker side. A Christmas Story, A Christmas Carol, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and press these open, and then we're ready to lay out this block, y'all. The hard work is done. Our half square triangles are made. Vicki, you like all the Christmas movies? A Christmas Story, yes. I like Frosty the Snowman, the cartoon, the original Frosty the Snowman too. Home Alone, that's always such a debate on Facebook, right? Is that really a Christmas movie? I always see a poll come up every December. I'd say it's a Christmas movie. You are so welcome. Alita 1031. I know I probably said your name wrong. You are so welcome. Here's our second half square triangle. Hello, everybody. We're coming live earlier today. Harlan has a work meeting, so we're a little bit early. I'm sorry if I threw you off today. You can always go back and watch the replay. We did a recap of the first 30 blocks right when we started today. I did a little slideshow. Just recapping, today is 30 days live in a row, which just sounds crazy to me. 30 days, 30 blocks. All right, I'm pressing my last half square triangle. You know what? They're bigger than what they should be. Glad I looked at that. They are bigger than what they should be. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, we got to trim these down. Oh, they're bigger than what they should be. Let's go ahead and trim these down. They need to be 4.5 by 4.5. That's a stinker. Let's go ahead and line these up. I'm just going to square them up and trim these right down. I thought I had the math right. I guess not. Let's go ahead and trim these down to 4.5 by 4.5. I guess not. So there's that one, and let's turn it around and trim off the other side. For our third question, name 5 things that I would see immediately as soon as I walked into your sewing area. Name 5 things that I would see as soon as I walked into your sewing area. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. All right, let me trim up these other 2. Oh, goodness. That's all right. That's all right. We'll just trim them up. If you walked into my sewing area, you would see a huge poster of Bob Ross up on the wall. You'd see a wall quilt that we bought in an antique store in Vermont. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do 4.5 by 4.5. Focus, Lisa. And spin it around and trim up the other side. I also have a Valentine's Day quilt that I did some screen printing on, hanging up right in the doorway. And we're trimming up the last side now. All right, I'm going to give you a second because more than likely, if you cut your pieces the same size I did, you've got to trim up your half square triangles too. 4.5 by 4.5. That's what they should measure. Donna, they ended up being 5 inches by 5 inches. We need to trim off 1/2 inch off of 2 sides to make them 4.5 by 4.5. Hazel says a dump. You'd see a dump. I'm sure you're being a little hard on yourself, Miss Hazel. I've seen pictures. You've sent me pictures of how you organize your sewing stuff. Wow, so great to see everybody today. So great to see you. So great to see you. So now we can go ahead and start laying out this block. Here's my board. Here's my other 4.5 by 4.5 inch pieces. And we can start with the layout of this block. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of our half square triangles. And this doesn't matter My right side up is your right side up because you can turn this block 2 different ways to have it right side up. We're going to place our half square triangles first in each one of the corners, just like this. Just like this, and just like this. We're going to take our pretty thick thread fabric and place that right in the middle, just like that. Oh, nope. You know what? I wanted the brown as my background. Your spool fabric should be in the middle just like this. I almost messed up, y'all. My background is the brown fabric. There we go. There we go. Let's take our 2 other spool fabrics and place them right in the middle on the top and the bottom rows. So there's my spool, and my background is brown. We'll fill in these 2 other places. There we go. I almost made a brown spool. Donna, the machine I'm using for these videos is a Juki Exceed HZLF600. They have a couple of different models of this machine. So great to see y'all today. So great to see you. Can't wait to actually sit down and read through all of your answers. Just skimming through to see if you have any questions. I think we're good with that. I think we're good. And I'm going to give you a second to lay out this block before we actually sew it together. Miss Kim, you're late, but you finally made it. Guess what? We're early. So technically, you're not late, right? I'm just early today. Harlan has a work meeting, so we're going a little early today. Question number 4, give me 3 words that best describe you. 3 words that best describe you. For me, I would say creative, quiet, and a third word. Creative, quiet, and a friendly. Overall, I'm pretty friendly. 3 words that best describe you. At this point, y'all, this block is going to come together really easy, right? I think this block, I would say, even with the half square triangles in here, is pretty beginner friendly. Pretty beginner friendly. Vicky says pain in the butt. Technically, that's 4 words, Miss Vicky, but yeah, that's funny. Quiet, kind, and creative. Yes. Quilter, quilter, quilter. Musical, creative, friendly. Christian, friendly, happy. Quiet, helpful, kind. Oh, yes. I'm going to have so much fun reading through all of your answers. We're going to go ahead and start piecing this block together, y'all. Okay? So we're going to take the second block and we're going to flip it right over onto the first block. And because these are going in a certain direction, I don't want to accidentally flip them at the sewing machine and have to rip them out. And because I'm trying to focus on more than one thing at a time, I went ahead and marked my seams so that I don't accidentally sew the wrong side. We're going to sew each one of these with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. We're going to do some chain piecing. So when I'm done with these 3, we're going to bring over the third block. So there's our first one. I'm going to take that away from the sewing machine. I'm going to go back up to this first set of blocks. We're going to open that up. We're going to do some finger pressing. Just open that seam up a little bit. And we're bringing in the third set of blocks. We're going to check it, make sure it's going in the right way. Flip it down and sew it. We're going to open up this second set. We'll do a finger press. Bring in the second block over here. Flip it and sew it. I love this striped fabric so much. And now we're adding our third block. Let's press that open a little bit. And here we go. We're going to check and make sure we have it lined up right. Flip it down and sew it. So just like that, we have our rows sewn together. I'm going to go ahead and snip my connecting threads because that just helps me a little bit. Snip and snip. So here's our rows. I need to give those a press. Wake back up. You can do it. So great to see everybody. Thank you for spending part of your Wednesday with me. To press my seams, I'm going to alternate mine from row to row, left to right, so I can nest my seams. That helps me get pretty little points where my blocks meet. You can press your seams open if you like. Pressing and pressing. So here's row number 1. Let's see, they need to be going this way. Pressing and pressing. And one more set to press. Y'all, I think I'm going to really like the spool block. I think that's pretty fantastic, right? So there we are. I'm going to give you a second to catch up if you're sewing with me live. Let's see, we have one more question for today. If you were lost in the woods, how long do you think you'd survive? If you were out by yourself taking a hike in the woods and you got lost, how long do you think you would make it out there by yourself? If Harlan was with me, I would not be worried at all. If I was by myself, I have a very slim chance of survival. I don't know any survival skills. I'd eat the wrong berries. I'd drink the water without boiling it first. I would be sick. The bears would probably come get me. I would not make it very long at all. Vicky, you grew up in the woods, so you'd make it a long time. I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't make it very long at all. I'd probably panic and then just like get myself even more lost. Beverly, you've been working on the farmer's daughter block for a few days. You finally gave up. This is the second block I have trashed. All right, so what I suggest, Miss Beverly, is that you just walk away from it. Just put it down and walk away. Do something else. Pick another block that you would like to make and work on that. And then do another block that you like and do that until you're not frustrated with the farmer's daughter. If you want to come back to that one, sometimes when we get really stuck and frustrated with something and we keep trying and trying, the best thing to do is just walk away from it. Come back and revisit it when all of your frustration about that block is done. Come back and revisit it some other time. Ooh, Pat, your thread fabric looks a lot like mine. I love fabric with stripes on it. Yeah, I would be lost. I would not know what to do. I'd eat the wrong berries. Probably eat some mushrooms that were not good for me. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do. I would not know what to do. Carol, you have the same machine, the Model 300. Yeah, it's a great machine, right? I love it. I love it. To finish up this block, y'all, we have 2 more seams. We're going to flip this middle row right on top, just like this. We're going to nest those seams here and here, and we're going to sew from edge to edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Matching up those seams right in those connecting blocks right there. You could throw some pins right in that seam. I just match them up and hold them with my finger until my needle goes past that seam. And while we're here, we're going to open this up and we're going to add our last row. And this is the last seam for this block. So let's just open that up. We'll just finger press it out of the way. We're going to bring in this last row. Let's check it to make sure it's right before we flip it and sew it. Flip and sew. Matching up those seams. Match up the next set of seams. And we are done sewing this block together. I'm going to take it over and give it a press. And then we will reveal my finished spool block. I really like this block a lot. I like it. Maybe I like it so much because I like the striped fabric in the middle. Pressing, pressing, pressing. Block number 30, y'all. 30 blocks. And just like that, we have our finished spool block. There are several different spool block patterns out there. If you Google search spool quilt block, you'll find all different variations of a spool block. This one's pretty simple, right? I love that right in the middle. This was so much fun. This was so much fun. Yes, Brenda, when you walk away, when you're frustrated and you walk away, it's kind of amazing when you come back with a fresh energy about it. You come back and things just seem to work right? But if you keep going and try to force something when you're frustrated, it just doesn't seem to work, right? Miss Donna, I don't know what's going on, but I'll be praying for you. I cannot wait to start seeing pictures of your spool blocks. Yes, yes, yes. I love this so much. I'm going to give everybody a second to catch up in case you're sewing with me live. Hello, Miss Jeannie. We're really early today, Miss Jeannie. Harlan has a work meeting here in just a little while. Can you go over the questions really fast? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Question number 1. If you got to pick a celebrity chef to cook you dinner tonight, who would you pick? Question number 2. What is your favorite Christmas movie? Question number 3. Name 5 things I'd see as soon as I walked into your sewing area. Question number 4. Give me 3 words that best describe you. And question number 5. If you were lost in the woods, how long do you think you'd make it out there? How long do you think you'd make it if you're lost in the woods? I give myself about an hour. About an hour. About an hour. Y'all, this quilt block was so much fun. I want to pull up tomorrow's block pieces so that you have a minute before we end for today to write down everything you need for block number 31. Block number 31 is also a 12-inch quilt block called Hourglass. Y'all, tomorrow we're doing a square and a square and a square, right? Square and a square and a square for the Hourglass block. These are the pieces that you need together if you want to sew with me live tomorrow. I also want to pull on the screen what this would look like if you repeated it as a quilt, and that's pretty amazing, right? Every other block in this quilt layout I just flipped to the other side, and that gives you this arrangement with the alternating green and orange. Pretty fantastic, right? I like that a lot. Thank you, Miss Janice. Carol, you're a Girl Scout, so you'd make it a few days, yes. So here are the pieces for tomorrow. Square in a square in a square. That's what we're doing tomorrow. I really like this hourglass block. At this point, y'all, in the beginning, it was really easy to say, this one is my favorite. This one is my favorite. At this point, after 30 blocks, I'm having a really hard time picking a favorite. But I really like the spool block. I really do. Yep, so we're just going to leave this up on the screen for a few minutes. You can do a screenshot. I've seen some people are taking screenshots and then printing the block and making little index cards for like a little Rolodex or something like that with all the blocks. I know that some people are printing out their measurements. They're typing them up in the computer and then printing them out for each block and putting them in a 3-ring binder. I know several people who are taking notes in spiral notebooks for the blocks. Y'all are so creative. So creative. Yes, Pauline, if you flip the block, then I would have a brown spool, right? Kim's doing screenshots of them all. It's so great to see everybody. So great. Connie, could you do a scrap square for the middle of spool? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it would be really interesting if you made the spool block scrappy and the thread color for the middle block, you did all different colors. That would be a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody who has been able to moderate and keep an eye out on my chat today. I appreciate you so, so much. I feel like I can focus on making the block and keeping myself straight so I don't flip things around the wrong way. And I don't have to worry about any silly wonkiness going on here in the chat because y'all are on it. Yes, Miss Wanda, you could do embroidery in the center. You could do a little applique in the center. That green centerpiece is going to end up at 4.5 by 4.5 inches. That's a good little space to do a saying, to put a little applique in the center. Yes, that's a great idea. Yes, Sherry, you could fussy cut the center of your hourglass block. Absolutely. Y'all have good ideas. Yes, you do. I love how creative minds work. I love how creative minds work. So it's been so great spending some time with you this Wednesday. If you missed the measurements here on the screen, come back in a few minutes, skip to the end and pause it. You'll be able to get all of the measurements for tomorrow if you're sewing with me live. I'm going to show you one more time my finished spool block. I love it so much. I do. I can't wait to put it up on the wall behind me. 30 live videos, 30 blocks. Thank y'all for sticking with me. Thank you so much. I hope, even if you're not making these blocks, I really appreciate you spending time with me. That's really one of the main purposes behind this whole series, right? Is to have the social interaction that we ordinarily would have if we weren't stuck at home, right? Thank you so much. Thank you. I would really love it if you gave this video a thumbs up. Maybe you know a quilting friend who would love this quilt block. You can send them the link for this video so they can check it out. Vicky, we might be square after making tomorrow's block. I'm already square. By all intensive purposes, I'm pretty square already. If you're not square already, you might be after tomorrow, Miss Vicky. It's so great to see you all. I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic rest of your day. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow for block number 31. It's going to be fun. And I'll see you then. Bye, everybody.